In a world awash in uncertainty.
Get off my back. I'm trying the best I can.
Wait, what?
Swamp Thing?
Yeah, I know Swamp Thing, but why did he not resurface?
Well, he hasn't been in movies for 20, 30 years now.
I'm pretty sure that means delicious.
Two brave heroes take on all things action. Hi guys, welcome to another great edition of All Things Action Videocast. I'm Dad, otherwise known as Aaron, and this is my little buddy,
Raiden!
Raiden, how's it going?
Good.
Good. So what's new and exciting today?
Like we were talking about last week, before we jumped into Rick and Morty, from a special person, we got,
A request.
a request to do Krypton.
Yeah, a request to talk about Krypton, SyFy's new original series that airs Wednesday nights on SyFy. We did a little research about some of the characters that you're seeing so far in the show.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd give our 2 cents on what we saw. Also wanted to mention that the visual look of the show actually goes very closely to Man of Steel, which you guys see right down here. Available now on Blu-ray, and it has been available for several years on Blu-ray, so this shouldn't be a new thing. But if you wanted to get a little more in-depth, if you just started watching Krypton and liked it, and you're like, oh, I wish there was more that we could see that's on a video format, check out Man of Steel. Just got done re-watching that again for probably the 100th time. I'll tell you what, that particular movie holds up really well. I actually was very impressed by the way that one looks compared to some of the stuff that's out there right now that they're just putting out. So anyway, Raiden, Krypton. We got to see the first 2 episodes. Episode 3 will air on Wednesday, which when we put this out on Tuesday, you'll just have to wait one more day. So if you can find it on demand, check it out. Vudu, I know, has the first episode free, so you can watch the pilot, which I highly recommend.
I thought it was I thought it was something else.
Okay.
But guess not.
Guess not. So we're going to dig into what Krypton is all about and kind of talk about the characters, and I'll give you a little bit of background on some of the main characters, since I know everybody's kind of excited about that. And maybe we'll kind of philosophize. I don't know. We'll kind of give our input on what we'd like to see going forward on the show, right?
I also got my Man of Steel's action figure.
Just to be here?
Just to be here because,
as a visual, right?
Because Krypton goes like the backstory of his grandfather, I think.
Yeah, let's dig right into it, buddy. Krypton. So Krypton is based on, obviously, the characters from Superman, which were created by Jerry Seyg-El and Joel Shuster. Superman was created in 1933, and the character was sold to Detective Comics in 1938, and Superman debuted in Detective Comics #1 in June of 1938.
1938.
So that's the character that these characters are based on. Now, Krypton itself actually takes place 200 years before the birth of Kal-El. And it takes place on Krypton, obviously. That's where the name Krypton comes from.
Obviously.
But the Kandor city is the kind of the main city that is on Krypton that the Kryptonians live in. And
because like outside of it, it's like all snow. Like if you live in Nebraska right now, it's snowing outside, and it's spring.
Yeah, it's Easter, right?
It's Easter.
Yeah.
But it's spring.
Well,
and it's snowy.
On Krypton, it seems like a very desolate area, and so they have to actually they actually had to build the city inside of a force field.
Why?
To stay away from the elements, because outside it's a wasteland. It's a barren wasteland, they call it, right? It's uninhabitable.
Yeah.
But for some reason they're able to maintain a great way of life within Kandor City because it's in a bubble. And so they've been able to do it. But
yeah, and they have like super advanced technology.
yes, very advanced technology, which comes courtesy of Val-El, who is, we kind of figured out, it's the great-great-great-grandfather, we believe, of Kal-El, this guy, Superman, right?
Superman!
Yeah. So it takes place in a time where Val-El is a respected member of the society. He actually runs the Science Guild, and we'll kind of get into the different guilds as well. But Val is kind of the focal figure right off the bat. He's the guy that you really take a vested interest in for a short period of time. We won't ruin why it's for a short period of time. But anyway, they kind of time jump after a big event happens right away, and you fast forward to 14 years later, where a 22-year-old Seyg-El, who is the grandchild of Val-El, who's also the grandfather of Kal-El,
and as you can see,
or the father of Jor-El.
Yeah, and
yeah, they've got Superman logos everywhere. Yep.
And we have Superman right here.
So you're already immersed in like multiple generations of the El family, the House of El. And really, that's what it comes down to in this show. Is there's different there's family rankings, and so the higher your ranking is, the better stance you have on society, and the better the pecking order is much better. And so right away, there's three main families that kind of control the upper echelon of Krypton, and that would be the Els, the House of El, the House of Vex, and the House of Zod. Those are the three main ones that we've come to kind of find out in the first two episodes are kind of the three houses that control a majority. Now, because of what happens right away in the pilot, the House of El does not remain a ranked house. So they actually lose their rankings. They go into the rank list, and they're just kind of ostracized from the community themselves, right? And so that's where we kind of pick up now in the story. Is Seyg-El is 22 years old. He's kind of just a ruffian on the street, down in the gutters and in the ghettos of Kandor City, and it's interesting to see how this is going to play out, because he is befriended by someone not of his world,
but of
Earth.
We're kind of like Earth.
Well, the guy's from Earth.
Really?
Who is it?
Adam Strange, I believe.
Yes, Adam Strange. Adam Strange is a character who first appeared in DC Comics Showcase number 17 in December of 1958. He's an archaeologist who uses the Zeta beam to move from galaxy and throughout time. So from galaxy to galaxy and throughout time. He has no real superpowers. That's one thing that we need to stress here. But instead is regarded as a highly intelligent character. He's made many appearances in DC Comics throughout every decade since the 50s, but he's never really had the spotlight. So not a lot of things are known about Adam Savage.
Savage?
Yes, Adam Strange. Excuse me. Thank you, Adam Strange. Just because he's kind of the guy who kind of comes in and comes out of comics every once in a while.
Yeah,
So unless you're very invested in Superman comics and DC comics, especially their more expanded universe ones, you're probably not going to know who he is. But I will say Adam Strange is not, in my knowledge, he's not related to Hugo Strange, who's the Mad Doctor from the Batman comics, and obviously on the other side of the aisle with Marvel, he is not related to Doctor Strange. So it's one of those names where
it just pops up out of nowhere.
It's just used a lot.
It's
so don't get too hung up on the name Strange, because it's completely different.
There's no connection with any of the other superheroes, villains that have a last name Strange.
Right. But through a roundabout way, some life-saving that goes on in the show. The family of the House of El is reinstated into the ranks, and Seyg actually is bound to the magistrate Vex, who kind of is the guy who oversees everything now for this deity who we still don't know exactly. We don't know much about this guy. He's a dude who wears a multi-faced head dress.
I think they had 4 gods, something like that.
I think they had more than that, but yeah, either way.
Well, the person said something about 4 gods.
Right, the guy's a little creepy. He's but yeah, we don't know much about him. So so Seyg gets reinstated, just him, not anybody else. And he's bound to this magistrate Vex's daughter, and so he is to take on the surname of Vex, which pretty much would kill the L name. But anyway, from that, this time traveler, Adam Strange, comes back, says, you're not going to believe this, but on my world, Earth, your grandson is revered as a god, and he saves us all. The problem is that someone has figured out that to not have to worry about him, that they're going to go back in time as well, or they figured out how to figure out time travel or whatever, and they're coming to Kandor City and Krypton.
No, he said...
You need to take your hands away from your mouth when you talk.
He said, come to Krypton.
Yeah. To eliminate the bloodline of the L's. And so Strange delivers a message. He says, you have to find the fortress. You have to save Superman. And he hands him a key that has the S on the end.
No,
and that's
I
called
think it was his mother.
It's called the Sunstone. So that's that. And so what we find out is that the fortress is the aforementioned Fortress of Solitude, which is a big thing in the Superman mythos, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get to see a little bit of the menagerie as well. So Raiden was like, "What's that?" And the menagerie is basically like specimens collected or rare things from different worlds.
Like, what's this?
And what we find out is that all started because Val-El was technically the first traveler to different worlds. And what did he use? Do you remember?
I think it was where Superman's people vanished Zonto. I don't remember. But Phantom Zone.
There you go. He used the Phantom Zone to travel. So Val-El is actually the innovator of the Phantom Zone. And that's pretty deep stuff. Other things that really kind of stood out to me was they visit the Genesis chamber, right? You remember the Genesis chamber? It's where they actually make the babies.
Oh, yeah.
And so for the last couple of decades or generations, maybe it was even, there hadn't been a natural birth on Krypton. It was all, you just pop in your blood from one person, you pop in your blood from another person, and a baby's generated inside a Genesis chamber. And the Genesis chamber had the technology to show what this person would become, how long they'd live, what they'd do in their life. And it was just kind of, it's like you're born and you just do this thing. And so that I found pretty awesome, because if you go and watch Man of Steel, they talk about, obviously, that Kal-El is the first natural birth on Krypton in generations. And so right there you go. The reason why he was different and special in so many different ways is because he was the first naturally born child in generations. Everything else before him was in the Genesis chamber. Yep.
He was like born like us, I think.
Right. We also find out that there's different guilds. So there's the military guild, and that's the soldiers are called. I think they call them Sagittari. Basically, they're just the enforcers for Krypton. They're the ones that get ready for anything that's supposed to come their way, and hopefully they never have to use them. But they're a very fierce group of individuals, and the main group that kind of runs the military guild is obviously the House of Zod. Trained warriors in the bloodline for generations upon generations. And of course, in Man of Steel, General Zod is the guy who obviously is just trying to, in his eyes, keep the bloodlines of Krypton alive.
Yeah,
right?
But he's trying to destroy Earth.
Right. So then you have the Lawmakers Guild, which obviously it sounds exactly like it is. It's the bureaucracy, and the Science Guild, which Val-El was the one who headed that until the thing that happened to him happened. And well, don't spoil things for people. They might want to see this for themselves, right? So either way, the Science Guild obviously is the ones that are going out there doing the advancements for the people of Krypton, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, very interesting. It's a very deep show. Has a lot of different characters. Jana Zod, Lyta Zod. Lyta's actually the love interest of Seyg-El at the beginning. I think it's Nessa Vex is the daughter of Magistrate Vex, who I think is Darren Vex. And then, yeah, you got all sorts of crazy things. Yeah, Nissa Vex, that's the name I wrote down. And then the Force Dome is obviously what they call the dome that sits over the top of Kandor City. But the one thing that really I'm excited about in this show is the season 1 looks to be the season of Brainiac, the villain, right?
Yeah. About that, in the first episode, Adam Strange is the tells Seyg
Yeah.
about Brainiac.
Yeah. He talks about Brainiac.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you
what does he kind of talk about Brainiac? What does he say?
Basically, like he's coming for Krypton, and
come over here. Look, the microphone's right here, bro.
He's coming for Krypton, and he is known as the Collector of Worlds.
Yeah, the Collector of Worlds. So A little bit of background for those of you who aren't familiar with Brainiac and why he's such a pivotal character or pivotal villain. Brainiac is one of Superman's most long-standing villains who first appeared in Action Comics number 242 in July of 1958. Brainiac's most consistent power is his 12th level intellect, which allows, he just has, like, he's a super brain. So he gives him enhanced memory, advanced understanding of mechanical engineering, bioengineering, physics, and other theoretical and applied sciences, as well as extensive knowledge of various alien technologies. Brainiac can also control minds, which is kind of scary, and has the ability to shrink cities and even planets to collect them in his iconic Skull ship. So if you do watch the show, pay attention when they show the picture of the ship, of Brainiac's ship. You can actually make out the outline of the skull on top of the ship, which is it's spooky to think that there's a ship that actually has a skull on top of it.
Yeah.
But Brainiac is just like with any super villain. There's two types of villains to match wits with the heroes. The villain who can brute force or use strength to try to beat the superhero.
Like,
so yeah, I guess I got my shirt on today, right?
Yeah, and he also got
there's
the Brainiac.
There's Brainiac right there, right? And there's Lex Luthor, right? But someone like Black Adam, right? Black Adam is kind of, although he's intellectually a superior being, he's also very strong. Or Doomsday. Let's take Doomsday, right?
Yeah,
Doomsday is not smart. He's extremely strong, and he is thought to be unkillable. So he's matching strength with strength, right?
Yeah.
Well, Brainiac is not that.
And
Brainiac he's strong,
but
it's because of his biomechanical engineering that he uses,
and
which came from his brain, his intellect. That's what makes him strong. So he's ultra smart. And one way to, if you're ever bullied by somebody who's a real dum-dum but real strong, try to outthink them, right?
Like, say something that they have no idea.
Sure, yeah. You can puzzle them, whatever it might be. But either way,
but what if you
sometimes using your brain is way more effective and powerful than trying to fight someone who's bigger and stronger than you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's Brainiac's ability is, although Doomsday could kill Superman, it would take a tremendous amount out of Doomsday, where Brainiac, he can't physically kill Kal-El,
but he
can find a way to
outsmart
using his brains, right?
Yeah, and outsmart Kal.
So
he's super smart.
Yeah. So obviously the first two episodes we're just getting to know the characters. We're getting to find out that Brainiac is on his way, and there could be a chance they kind of leave you at a cliffhanger in number 2 of Brainiac might not just be on his way, he may already be here, right?
Yeah.
So, Raiden, you like the show? What happened? You kind of just went down in the dumps. Raiden, do you like the show?
Yes.
Okay, great. What's going on with you?
Nothing.
All right, so now's the time where we're going to talk a little bit about the show, and then we'll talk about what we kind of are thinking will maybe happen further down the road, right? So, you like the show, right?
Yeah.
What do you like about the show? From a kid's perspective, what do you like?
I like that it uses a lot of... It's not like super violent. It's just like how it goes, like before everything happened, like the birth of Superman or Kal-El.
It's a good origin story show, right?
Yeah.
So I like the fact that yes, it goes very deep into the Superman mythos. I wish that they would have done this show prior to Man of Steel and some of those other ones, just because I feel like Superman is one of those characters
that you don't know much about.
You don't know much about. Yeah, it's nice to finally get kind of a backstory. In saying that, a lot of these characters do not exist in the comic books. This is made from scratch, which I really do like, and I think that's a very cool aspect of it. Is they're kind of making it up as they go, but they're still following the old idea. Yeah. Yep. They're following a blueprint at this point, which DC does a very good job of when it comes to their TV side. I will say I do find it refreshing that this feels like a more mature show, if you know what I mean. Like, so I like the Flash TV show because it does have it's about young characters, and it's about coming of age, right?
Yeah, and it's also it shows backstory.
Right.
In the first episode, it showed the backstory.
Yeah, and I do feel like not every show that DC makes has to be CW'd, where it's a thinly veiled show for
CW
for young adults, and teenagers. I like this because it does feel like they kind of took the kid gloves off, and this is a truly adult-driven show, but the kids still can watch it. There's nothing on there that's gratuitous. I think we saw one scene where two characters were kissing in bed, right?
Yeah.
But it was only about 10 seconds, so it wasn't anything crazy. And Raiden was just like, "Hey, I don't want to see this."
Whatever.
Yeah. So, so what do you think's going to happen in this show for the first season, Bear? You think Brainiac finally gets to Krypton, or do they figure out a way to keep Brainiac away from Krypton?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he might be able to bail or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's coming and they try to find a way. I don't know.
What if I were to tell you, and this is just me speculating, but what if I were to tell you that Brainiac had been there since the beginning of Seyg-El's time on Krypton? And what I mean by that is,
well, why didn't he have a strike?
Because much like the Star Wars show, you know how Star Wars is, where the Emperor is actually hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, this is just my speculation, I have not read anything about this online, this is just me kind of speculating, and I hope I'm wrong. The deity or the godlike character that wears the headdress,
yeah,
I think that's Brainiac.
It could that could be.
I think it is, and I think that would be a very interesting storyline if Brainiac was the one who was actually controlling everything that was happening on
Krypton.
Yes. There's also a terrorist group that's called Black Zero that we through
Encountered.
2 episodes. All we know is that they're kind of people leading the resistance against kind of the tyranny of the houses that run Krypton. We're not exactly sure what that's all about, so there could be a chance that Black Zero is operating in league with Brainiac, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
There is speculation, though, that if this show continues to go positively, and they decide to renew it, that we might actually get to see characters like Doomsday and Hawk Girl be part of Krypton as well. So that'd be kind of neat. I don't know how they'd incorporate Hawk Girl
or Hawkman.
Doomsday, obviously, from the Zack Snyder reiteration. Doomsday is the abomination that came from
Zod.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they talk about in Batman versus Superman that there were times where the Kryptonians had tried and failed to create something, and it was always an abomination. Well, that could be Doomsday, you know.
Yeah,
it could just be a separate species of Kryptonian that they tried to create, and so we might get to see like the very first Doomsday
figure.
Yeah, figure, character, creature. So that'd be kind of cool, right?
Yeah, we gotta see Doomsday that Lex Luthor created.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm excited though, and I hope this helps Grandpa, who was the one who suggested that Grandpa Gene, right?
Yeah.
Suggested that we talk a little bit about this. So I hope this helps you out, Grandpa Gene. Yeah, it's just exciting to see a new show. I think that there are a few shows out there right now that are kind of hitting their saturation point, and so it's kind of nice to be able to come in with something brand new, something that hasn't really been seen yet. And I'm excited for the two of us to be able to sit down and actually watch something on a regular basis like Krypton, right?
Check it out on Sling or Voodoo.
Yeah, or any cable or dish provider that has SyFy channel. So on again on Wednesday. Real quick, buddy, I thought I'd plug something real quick. Is that all right?
Sure.
It's something that you haven't read yet, but guys, I really highly recommend this. It is the Doomsday Clock, which is in its, I think it's what is this, number 4. The first 4 prints of this. It's a comic book, 12-part comic book, which is the big crossover between the DC Comics universe, and, specifically Batman, and but I mean, it's got Batman and Lex Luthor. It's pretty much Justice League meets the Watchmen. So I'm going to tell you this right now. Number 4, if you know anything about Watchmen and Rorschach specifically, this is an incredible read. So make sure you go out and pick up the first 4 of those and continue to read that with me. I'd love to sit down with somebody at some point here in the All Things Action Videocast seats, and we could discuss kind of what's going on with that and what the speculations could be as to where Dr. Manhattan is and all that stuff. But
I would have to be a part of that.
Okay.
That's my one thing.
You can be a part of it, dude.
I mean, I love comic books.
I know. What have you been reading?
I've been reading some of my old comic books.
Yeah, what specifically?
Well, someone got me a Gears of War Unsaid comic book.
Yeah. Keep talking.
Oh man, forgot.
Oh no.
And basically, it's basically about before the first.
It's the Rise of Rom, right?
No, it's not.
Is that the one you're talking about? No.
I'm talking about it's before they learn about the Locust.
Okay, awesome. Well,
And
hey,
then
bud.
I also have Rise of Rom.
Yes, Rise of Rom, which is out right now as well. So please make sure you're continuing to read your comic books It's very important. I can't believe how many new comics come out nowadays. They're just able to kind of print those out,
and
one after another, which is incredible. Not like the old days. That's why we kind of pine for the old days, Raiden, when it was the Bronze Age and the Silver Age and the Golden Age, right?
Yeah, and on Free Comic Book Day,
May 1st.
Get your free comic books.
Yeah, we love that day.
If you live by us, there's Rainbow.
Yeah, shout out to Rainbow Comics and Trade-A-Tape Comics. That's downtown. Rainbow Comics is on the south side of Lincoln. If you don't live near Lincoln, Nebraska, please make sure you actively seek out. If you go to freecomicbookday.com, I believe,
you can get them.
It'll show you where on a map all the free comic books are going to be. So kind of an important day for anybody who has a little kid. It's a great way to get some free literature, and they can actually choose their own comics that they want to pick out and read. And I think that's what got you kind of hooked on comics, was the free ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
good times, right?
I also like the one, like, Rise of Rom. I like that one. And it was not free.
No, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to pay for what you like, right?
Sometimes you have to pay for what you liked it. Like, Gears of War is like one of the most awarded franchise.
Hey, Raiden, let's get out of here. Let's go play. Okay? Okay. So, guys, thank you for watching so much. We have a big tournament for Samaya's team next weekend. So, what we'll probably do, for your sake, because I know you're excited about it, WrestleMania is next Sunday. I think what we'll do is
WrestleMania 34.
Yeah. What we'll do is
we should do an entire video about that.
Yeah, we'll do a video about WrestleMania and the matches, and we'll make predictions, and then we'll see if those predictions come true. That'll be an easy one for us to get through since it's all kind of cut and dry. It'll be a relatively short one, and
unlike this one.
Hey, this one's good though, man. I like this, right? Don't worry about the time. Let's wrap this thing up. So, for myself, Aaron, aka Dad, for Kal-El, aka Superman, and for Raiden, aka I don't know, the bear?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bear. You guys have been watching All Things Action Videocast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week with our WrestleMania hype, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the videocast.
WrestleMania videocast hype video.
Booyah! Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Why did you say booyah?
I don't know, because it sounded right. Later.
Later.